for today's video, I thought I would do my April wrap-up, show you the books that I've read, and talk about them. If you follow my reading vlogs, you probably have heard of all these books because I read them there and talked about them there, but if you're still interested and want to hear more about them in this wrap-up, then keep watching. But let's get started. So in total, I have read 6 books. Total pages is 2,536. The longest book that I read this month was 640 pages, and the shortest one was 224 pages. I read 3 YA fantasy books, 2 contemporary, and then 1 that I'm a little bit hesitant about, but I categorized it as thriller/fantasy, so yeah. The first book I read this month is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. I did enjoy it, but obviously there is all this hype, and for me, it was a little bit boring at some parts and a little bit like I wasn't interested in what was going on, and kind of slow paced and just not really capturing my interest. But as I went on and on, like honestly, yeah, it got better, and I wanted to continue on with the series because I've heard other people say that it gets better, so still wanted to continue on, but this wasn't the best in my opinion. It's the first book in the series, and honestly not too impressed, but it was okay. So after that book, as I told you, I wanted to continue with the series, so I picked up A Court of Mist and Fury, also by Sarah J. Maas, which is the second book in the series, and this one was so much better in my opinion. I gave these 5 out of 5 stars. It's a big one, but I really enjoyed this. In my opinion, it was a lot, like it was still slow paced and still boring at some parts because it's so big, but I really liked what was going on. I liked these two people much better together than in the first book. Loving the romance and loving all of the fantasy elements. The world building is amazing, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series. I have ordered all of the books, and I'm excited for them to come in because I really enjoyed the second book in the series. The next book I read was the Southern's Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This one was really weird for me and really cool and really good. We have this small, cute, kind of picturesque looking town, at least that's what I imagine it, kind of like Desperate Housewives, that street, kind of really cute and small town, mixed with this weird thriller fantasy element that doesn't really fit in this cute small little town, and that made it very unique and odd, and I really enjoyed the concept. This book included one of things like I hate this on series, on TV, movies, books, and that is when, like, I have such a hard time for it when someone close to you, like say a friend or relative, comes to you and says that she or he saw something, like, hey, I saw this happening and I think that this person is behind all of it, and people won't even listen or believe her. Like, I hate it. I can't stand it when people won't even hear her out. Why would a person come up to you and lie about that? Just hear her out. And I hate when this happens, when everyone like thinks that she's crazy and starts to ignore her because she says that she thinks this person is behind it. Like, I hate it. Why don't you just hear her out? Oh, I can't stand when that happens, but really enjoy this one. It's super freaky and cool. Basically this is about Patricia, who feels like she's kind of tired and bored of life. She used to work as a nurse and really enjoying it, but then she got kids and started to work like as a stay-at-home mom and kind of gave up her career for it, and while her husband is like off working a lot and stuff, and she kind of misses work and she kind of feels like she misses something in life, I guess. They have this book club, or like they start this book club where they talk about true crimes books, and then weird stuff starts to happen. Crimes starts to happen, and it's very weird and it's very chilling, very unique, honestly. And I thought it definitely was a book that's worth reading, so definitely pick this up if you haven't. Also, I love the cover. Also, in this book, we have a thing that I really like. It's so random, but I wanted to talk about it. I love when, like in movies and TV series and books, where, let's say they have a creature and they're gonna figure out what this creature is, and they find a video or picture that was like 100 years old, and they see that person and that person hasn't aged at all. Like, I get chills when that happens, and I love it. So example, I think it happened in the Vampire Diaries, the first couple of episodes, when Elena, I think she goes to the radio or TV station or something, and she finds this old video, right, on the Salvatore house, and she sees Stefan, and she's like, that's Stefan, he hasn't aged at all. Like, I love that kind of thing. And we have this in here where she found a photograph that's old, and I just love it. I just want to tell you guys, I get chills when that happens. I think it's so good and so creepy. I really like it. The next book I am going to talk about is Flipped by Wendelin van Dranen. This is a super cute contemporary, perfect for the summer or spring in my opinion, where we follow two kids, one girl and one boy, from a very young age up until they're in high school, and we follow as they, like, the girl has a really huge crush on him as kids and follows him around everywhere and really wants to play with him, you know, really be with him. And the guy, like, hates her, you know, everyone thinks she's weird, everyone thinks she's off and odd, and he thinks the same basically. And then things starts to happen, their relationship evolves, and this guy kind of realizes how great she is because of all of the things she's done, and it's really powerful and beautiful read, and I really recommend it if you haven't read it. It's a pretty short read, so definitely give it a try. Definitely a book worth reading in my opinion. Also, there's a movie, definitely check that one out. I really think that's very well portrayed. I love the actors in that one, super great, and the atmosphere and the setting, beautiful. So definitely check the movie out if you haven't. I definitely recommend it. The next book I am going to talk about is He Forgot to Say Goodbye by Benjamin L.A. Sainz, and this is a book about two guys that kind of have this special connection because they both have absent fathers, and for that reason they kind of connect, and they have this one thing in common that's pretty big, you know. We follow Jake and Ramiro. Ramiro feels like he doesn't really belong. He struggles with the feeling of belonging because he doesn't know if he's Mexican enough or American enough, and that's a very big issue, and he's really struggling with it. And then we follow Jake, who is a rich guy, comes from a rich family, but has also struggles at home because he doesn't at all agree with his parents' political beliefs, and that's kind of a struggle of its own. It's really hard to live under the same roof if you don't have at all the same beliefs in anything, and we kind of get to follow how these guys cope with it. And we also follow Ramiro's brother a little bit, who struggles with drugs. So a very important read in my opinion, and really good, and I really want to read more of this author. I know he has more books out there, but I definitely recommend this book if you're feeling like what I said is interesting, because I really thought he was, and really important. So freaking good. The last book I read this month is Covet by Tracy Wolff. This is the third book in the series about Grace and the boarding school in Alaska, and vampires and dragons and witches and all of the other creatures that involves this books. But I liked this book. It's very big, by the way, but I don't think I liked it as much as the first two books, to be honest. I don't think so. Maybe because it was so big and I got a little bit bored, kind of a little bit in a reading slump, but I really liked it. But also this book has one thing that the others didn't, which I really like. That is the new couple. I'm not gonna tell you if you haven't read it, but I like this couple better than the couple that we have in the other two books, in my opinion. And I really like it. And in these books we kind of have a love triangle, which is a trope that I really enjoy. And I love all of the like teen angst drama mixed with fantasy and really cool dragon and vampire stuff. So fun, and it's humoristic, these books. I really like them. It's easy to read. It's a very informal language in my opinion, and very easy to follow. Super fun and good and exciting. I have a few tabs. The only one I remember was the first tab that I thought was funny, that they mentioned on on page 16 they mentioned that it's a Swedish recipe, and I'm Swedish, and since we're such a small country, we get so excited whenever we are mentioned in books or TV shows. So I tabbed that one. They talk about like blood and pancakes because they're vampires, and she's like, oh, it's a Swedish recipe. I just thought it was kind of fun. It's always fun when we get mentioned because we're such a small country. And the other tabs, I don't know what that was. I think it's just like small funny things. Oh yeah, the other tab that I had was when she mentioned, oh, I'm gonna take a shower and then grab a pair of pajamas and then watch an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I just thought it was funny. I'm currently watching that show also, and it's so funny that she lives in a world where there's vampires. She's together with a vampire and she's like, I'm gonna put on an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I just thought it was funny, you know? She's literally friends with vampires, and yeah, it's just funny. What else did I tab? Yeah, I think I also tabbed the first time that they kind of kissed or made out, because it took forever for them to like have a makeout session. I don't know, it took forever, but I think I tabbed the first time. Yes, and it's like almost in the end. Yes, that was all of the books that I've read this month. The longest one was A Court of Mist and Fury, and the shortest one was Flipped. And my favorite of the month was probably A Court of Mist and Fury and Covet. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!